Well, good morning and welcome to 755 Live, about 5 minutes of what Jesus said. And today's soundbite version of a command or teaching of Jesus is use your gifts. You can find a different command of Jesus every weekday at our Bible plan, bible.today.church. And we are here at Ironworks Coffee live from Tuesday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. until 8:30 for a prayer time, and then we do this 7:55 live to talk about what Jesus said. And if you find this meaningful or helpful, it would really mean a lot to me and makes a big difference if you like it, if you share on social media. Thank you, Pastor Richard, for checking in. Appreciate you and your support and praying for your church there in Uganda. Today's Jesus said, use your gifts. This is from Matthew 25, 14 through 19, starting with verse 14, reading today from the NET version. For it is like a man, he's talking about the kingdom of God, going on a journey, who summoned his slaves and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The one who had received 5 talents went off right away and put his money to work and gained 5 more. In the same way, the one who had gained 2 gained 2 more. But the one who had received 1 talent went out and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money in it. After a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled his accounts with them. Now we find the rest of this story, the way that the master settled his accounts. He was upset with the one who had buried the talent that he had been given, and then he blessed and gave more to those who had invested it and put the money to work. Now, in context here, a talent was a huge sum of money. In the first century, it was equal to about 6,000 denarii. 1 denarius was the usual pay for a day's wage for a worker. It was a lot of money. The single denarius was originally the value of 10 donkeys, and so 6,000 of those was a talent, and they were given multiples of those. But the important point here isn't the amount of money. The important points here, it was not their money. It was not their gifts. They were given the gifts by the master. And the expectation was that they would use what the master gave them according to their ability to go and make more. Keeping the master's money or his gifts safe wasn't the point. Investing to multiply was what was commended. So Jesus said, use your gifts. Use what God has given you. This is the entire model of creation. Kind after kind. Be fruitful and multiply. And we see this played out in the commands of Jesus as well. Jesus said that we were chosen to bear fruit. He said to follow him and learn how to become fishers of men. The great commandment or the great commission, Matthew 28, go make disciples. How? Teaching them to obey all the things that I commanded you. Obedience multiplies. That's how we invest our gifts into the kingdom of God. Jesus said, use your gifts, but it's not about our gifts. It's about what God has given us and using them for the kingdom. And when we are in the kingdom, using our gifts, investing them, our gifts multiply. And what does that multiplication look like? Well, the rest of Matthew 25, Jesus goes on to talk about final judgment, where we're going to stand before him and we're going to answer how we treated the least of these. That's how the kingdom multiplies. When we invest our gifts into the kingdom of God, our fruit grows on other people's trees. We invest our gifts for the good of others, and we multiply by making disciples, by sowing good seeds, by bearing good fruit. And what God gives us isn't for us to bury in the ground, but it is for us to use for the kingdom, investing what He has invested in us to help and serve others. Jesus said, use your gifts. How can we put that into action today?